The Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame festivities have tipped off over at Mohegan Sun, which is where we find Fox 61 sports reporter Alexa Harley. Alexa got to speak to the one and only Sue Bird. And Alexa, we're all wondering, what did you ask her?
Well, first and foremost, when you get to ask Sue Bird a question, the pressure is on to make it a good one. And so a couple of weeks ago, I did a little bit of digging, and I actually came across what was an old UConn's women's basketball media relations guide. And it has these player profiles with all the obvious questions. What's your favorite movie, your favorite music, favorite food, things of that nature. But it also had a section of what was their favorite piece of advice. And Sue Bird answered that with this: tough times don't last, tough people do. And so when I got to ask her a question today, I went with that one. Where did that piece of advice come from, and has it ever resonated with you most at a certain point in your career? And here's what she had to say.
That quote, "tough times don't last, but tough people do," was something that I stole essentially from a very close friend of mine in high school. Was in a car accident and left him paralyzed from like the middle of his chest down. And that was something he said. And it always was a little bit of perspective, even at a young age. We were like 15, 16 years old, where it was like, man, Brian's saying that. You know, what's a twisted ankle? You know, what's a lost game? And so I always had that perspective. But for me, I think a lot of the moments in my career that were the hardest did come in the form of injury, right? Like tearing my ACL super early in my career, microfracture surgery a couple years later. With each one of those types of challenges, it is nice to have a little reminder that like this isn't going to last forever.
And in that player profile too, back in her college days, Sue Bird picked The Notebook as her favorite film. And so obviously I had to bring that up with her today and make sure that she knew that back in her 20s, The Notebook reigned supreme for her. And she kind of laughed, seemed a little caught off guard, a little embarrassed, but then she followed that up with saying, if you don't cry when watching that movie, you're crazy. So that's one thing that Sue Bird and I have in common, so that's good to know. But we will catch up with Sue Bird again later on tonight, and we'll also hear from the other UConn Husky legend, Maya Moore. So make sure you stay with us. At Mohegan Sun, Alexa Harley, Fox 61 Sports.